All right, hello everyone. I hope you guys are having a good Sunday. It's November 1st, and today me and Andrew are here with a weather update. Today we're going to be talking about the tropics, and we're going to be talking about the upcoming temperatures and what November could be like. Yes, like I said, Andrew is here today.
Yes, I haven't been here in a long time.
Yes, he has not been here in a long time because of weather's been really well. There hasn't been any severe weather events at all. But let's get started with the video. Please consider subscribing and please leave a like. I would really appreciate it. But let's get started with the video. So right now, this is Tropical Storm Eta. It is now a strong tropical storm. We can see it has a lot of convective bursting right by the center. In that area, we have really cold cloud tops, especially right there. And so, yeah, it's probably going to become a hurricane soon, as it gets closer to Central America. So yes. And we look at the National Hurricane Center. It is 70 miles per hour with a minimum central pressure 989 millibars. And the wind history, as you guys can see, the wind field is getting a lot bigger. The tropical storm force has gotten a lot bigger. And let's look at the cone now. So the National Hurricane Center does not have this being a major hurricane at all. It just has it becoming a hurricane by tomorrow, and then being a hurricane all the way as it makes landfall in Central America. And yeah, so it doesn't really have it being a major hurricane, but this thing will potentially become a major hurricane. Most of the models have been thinking this will be a Category 3. So yeah, we're going to have to see what this does. National Hurricane Center does not have it being a major hurricane, though. It has it making landfall around noon on Tuesday. And we already have hurricane warnings out for areas of Nicaragua right now. I can never say that right.
Yeah, it's a hard name to say.
It's not hard.
I'll briefly touch on something that can happen. So after the system makes landfall in Central America, it's expected to make landfall there. It can either do one of two things. One, get pulled up, hit maybe the Yucatan as a tropical storm, then curve out back to sea and hit the United States or somewhere around the United States, or hit Cuba as a tropical storm and or hurricane, or can miss the Yucatan and track up toward Cuba, hit Cuba, then go hit Florida, and then go up to the East Coast, or it could go out into the Eastern Pacific Ocean. Now, none of these solutions are the most likely. All those are in play. Some of those solutions will likely not happen. This is very uncertain with the track after it hits the Mexico coast.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. Actually, we look at the global and hurricane models here for the track of this. They have no clue where this is going to go. They are centered on where it's going to make landfall, though, in Central America. And then it's going to go into Honduras. But where it goes after that, some of the models have it going to west. Some of the models have it going north and kind of riding along the Yucatan. Some models have it making a sharp turn and going towards Cuba. So we're going to have to see where it actually goes after it makes landfall. But we do know where it's going to make landfall, and that is a good thing. So we know which areas are going to be expecting the worst impacts. The worst impacts from this. So let's actually look at some of the models here. We're going to be looking at the...
I'll also briefly touch on something else. There is a disturbance in the Eastern Pacific Ocean. Now, I was going to pull up some data for that and see if it can form or not. So let's see if it'll form. The GFS shows a hurricane forming out of it, so we could be talking about a low-end Category 1 to maybe Category 2 hurricane over the next few days in the Eastern Pacific Ocean, and then weakening over to a tropical storm or depression.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. That's with our disturbance in the Eastern Pacific. Now, we're going to be looking at 3 different models for Eta. We're going to be looking at the GFS, the Canadian, and the European. Right now, we're going to look at the GFS first. The GFS right now, as it indicates it right there, in the Caribbean. It has it making landfall in the most likely spot as a hurricane. Actually, has it becoming a pretty strong hurricane for 966 millibar low, right next to landfall. as it making landfall, kind of becoming a tropical depression, bringing a lot of heavy rains, probably a lot of flooding with this because it's going to be around land for a while. The GFS does have this thing moving north, kind of hitting Cuba, forming into a very large storm and then moving eventually north. This thing, the GFS is this thing being really weird. It has like staying by the Bahamas and Cuba. This thing is, what does the GFS do? The GFS is this thing doing a whole U-turn very slowly and hitting Cuba again. As Cuba getting hit twice. That's not good. Yeah, so that would be terrible if that did happen, but hopefully it does not. So yes. Now that's just the GFS. Let's take a look at the Canadian now. The Canadian is this thing making landfall in this little around the same spot, maybe like a little bit further to the south, and then it has it going into Central America, bringing a lot of heavy rain and some flooding. It has it going over the Yucatan though. Unlike the GFS has had it. Let's actually do this. So the GFS is going to be in blue. The GFS kind of was like. The GFS was like this. A bunch of random stuff over there. The Canadian is like this. And then let's see where it goes after that. So the Canadian is this thing. Eventually, it has a weakening in the Gulf, probably due to cold waters and shear, making a landfall as like just a tropical disturbance in Louisiana and Mississippi, and combining with a low pressure system, which could be our next winter storm, which we're going to be talking about this soon. And then next we're going to do the European. The European is going to be in green. And yeah, so let's get the European pull up here. Oh wait, that sucks. We got rid of it. Yeah, so let's do this again. So GFS like that. Canadian like that. Now let's see where the European is going to go. So let's get the MS. No, we can't. Let's not do that. We don't really need that. So the European has this thing making landfall, same spot as the Canadian exactly. And then it has it kind of moving into Mexico, getting some more energy, probably from some tropical moisture in Mexico. Or while it's over land, it could stay as continue bringing a lot of rain. And it moves out, gains energy from the waters, hits Cuba, and then that's the last of the European. So the European has this thing kind of taking a similar track to the GFS a little bit. So that's not good. We're going to have to see if that happens. If the GFS and the European happen, this will not be good for Cuba. But yeah, so that is the tropics. Now let's switch over to a different topic. Let's switch over to the winter weather. So that's our other thing we have going on right now. So right now we have a large low pressure system up in Canada. And on the back side of that, we have cold northerly winds. And that is bringing a situation for lake effect snow in areas in New York, PA, Ohio, and Michigan. And we actually had some pretty strong. We have a lot of we did have a lot of special marine statements out for areas off of the coast of New England. And then we go to tomorrow morning. Our lake effect snow kind of winds down, but it does move further inland. And we have 30-degree temperatures going all the way down to central Georgia and central Alabama and central Mississippi, and a little bit in the northern Louisiana too. So yeah, this is going to be one of the coldest nights of the year for many in the central U.S. Not really the central U.S. Mainly just the east. Now by tomorrow afternoon, the lake effect winds down, but on the backside of this, we're going to have a lot of winds, and we're going to have some leftover moisture, so maybe some snow showers for Maine, New Hampshire, and Vermont. Then after that, we can kind of go for a while with a pretty dry period. Then we have a large storm system that hits the west coast and comes into the plains. And we have the GFS has like a blizzard for North Dakota, South Dakota, with some ice and stuff. And this would be a really messy scenario with maybe even some severe weather in front of it. Let's actually try to get some soundings here. They're probably going to be crap. Yep. That's crap. So maybe not severe weather, but definitely a strong line of showers. If this does happen. And then behind this, though, we have another ice storm that comes out here. It's like Amarillo to the northwest of Oklahoma City. Affects areas like Wichita really hard with heavy ice. and brings a snow mess all the way up into Minnesota and eastern North Dakota. Got 2 winter storms in the GFS here. Let's take a look at a previous model run though to see if we have any like if the GFS is even consistent at all with this. So this is the 12Z model from earlier today. Let's see what it has. So it has our first winter storm impacting areas kind of in the same area. It had a little bit further to the east though. Not that far to the east, but this far to the east. And then it did have our second winter storm too, but it had it a lot further to the east. So it had this a lot further to the east, but it did have the 2 winter storms. The 2 winter storms going on. So yeah, we're probably aren't gonna see we're gonna see 2 winter storms to start off next week, most likely. Now where they happen, we really don't. It's kind of hard to tell where exactly they're gonna happen. But right now, our first one's probably gonna impact areas with winter weather, probably in this area and a little bit further to the east. Sorry. Now our second one will happen a little bit further to the southeast. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens with those tomorrow. And the last thing we're gonna look at is it because it is the start of the month. Let's look at the Climate Prediction Center's outlooks. This is the 6 to 10 day outlook. The Climate Prediction Center has the east really above average, and it has the west really below average. So pretty strong, definitely probably an amplified or a really strong jet stream going on. And then precip above average in the north, the mountains, and the east a little bit. The 8 to 14 day, it has the below average temperatures shifting a little bit further to the east, and it does not have the confidence is lower, so that's why it's not as extreme for both sides. And then 1 month outlook from the Climate Prediction Center has most of the U.S. slightly above average, with a low areas like the southeast and areas of the northern plains and the upper Midwest have a lower chance of being above average. And then actually the Climate Prediction Center has even chances of above average and below average in areas of Montana, North Dakota, northern South Dakota, Minnesota, and Washington and Idaho. But yeah, that'll wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll be back tomorrow, and maybe Andrew will.
Bye.
Yes.